Part 67. David and Bathsheba. 2 Samuel 11:1. And at the turn of the year, at the time when kings go forth to battle, David sent out Joab and his servants with him and all Israel. And they destroyed the children of Ammon and besieged Rabbah. But David remained in Jerusalem. Vespasian sent Titus to destroy Jerusalem. First of the 5th century CE, Titus arrived in Jerusalem in the spring. 2 Samuel 11:2. And late one afternoon, David rose from his bed and went for a walk on the roof of the king's house. And from the roof, he saw a woman bathing, and the woman was very beautiful to look at. 24th of the 1st century CE, first vision. Vespasian saw Simon as a woman. Naked meant without Roman law. 2 Samuel 11:3. And David sent and inquired about the woman. And someone said, "This is none other than Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam and wife of Uriah the Hittite." Simon was a member of the Bathsheba entity, a subsidiary of Eliam's entity, the wife of Cain, Titus. 2 Samuel 11:4. And David sent messengers and took her, and she came to him, and he lay with her. Now she had just purified herself from her nakedness, from her uncleanliness, and she returned to her house. Titus took Simon to Rome. Simon was purified by sanctification, depth. Titus laid on Simon to perform the resurrection by act. 2 Samuel 11:5. And the woman conceived, and she sent word and told David and said, "I am pregnant." 21st of the 7th century CE, Titus appointed Simon as Jesus. It was a plan. 2 Samuel 11:6. Then David sent word to Joab, Send me Uriah the Hittite." So Joab sent Uriah to David. Vespasian ordered Titus, Jacob, to send Simon, Uriah, to Rome. 2 Samuel 11:7. And Uriah came to him, and David asked how Joab was doing, and how the people were doing, and how the battle was going. Vespasian asked Titus on the status of Simon and Jews. He asked for a report of the war. 2 Samuel 11:8. And David said to Uriah, "Go down to your house and wash your feet." And Uriah went forth from the king's house, and there followed him a present from the king. Vespasian told Titus to perform a purification ritual upon Simon and Jews at the palace. Genesis 43:24. And the man brought the man into Joseph's house and gave them water, and they washed their feet, and he gave their donkeys fodder. Water for purification ritual after Lord's Supper. 2 Samuel 11:9. But Uriah lay down at the entrance of the king's house with all the servants of his lord, and did not go down to his house. Titus performed the purification ritual on Simon and Jews at the palace. 2 Samuel 11:10. And they told David, saying, "Uriah did not go down to his house." Then David said to Uriah, "Have you not just come from a journey? Why have you not gone down to your house?" Simon stayed at the palace. Tents were prepared for Jews. Simon did not stay in the tent. 2 Samuel 11:11. And Uriah said to David, "The ark and Israel and Judah dwell in huts, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are encamped in the open field. Shall I then go down to my house to eat and drink, and to lie with my wife? As you live and your soul lives, I shall by no means do this thing." Jews stayed in huts in open field. Simon stayed at the palace. 2 Samuel 11:12. And David said to Uriah, "Remain here today also, and tomorrow I will send you back." So Uriah remained in Jerusalem that day and the following. Titus told Simon to stay at the palace in Rome. 13th to the 14th, 771 CE, Simon stayed at palace. 15th of the 771 CE, the following day was crucifixion. 2 Samuel 11:14. Then in the morning David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. Simon wrote last testament. He sent it by the hand of Titus to Vespasian. 2 Samuel 11:15. And he wrote in the letter saying, put Uriah in the forefront of the hardest battle and withdraw from him that he may be struck down and die. Vespasian wrote Old Testament, Roman law. The letter was dead to Simon, who wrote Jewish law. 2 Samuel 11:16. And when Joab besieged the city, he assigned Uriah to the place where he knew the valiant men were. Simon was taken to Rome, where Roman law ruled. 2 Samuel 11:17. And the men of the city went forth and fought with Joab, and some of the people, some of the servants of David, fell, and Uriah the Hittite died also. Simon was executed. 2 Samuel 11:18. And Joab sent a messenger to tell David all the things concerning the battle. 15th of the 771 CE, 5 p.m., Titus told to Simon about the second vision, depth. 2 Samuel 11:19. And he commanded the messenger, saying, when you have finished telling the king all the things concerning the battle, Titus sent a report of the war to Vespasian. 2 Samuel 11:20. And the king's anger rises up, and he says to you, why did you go so close to the city to fight? Did you not know that they would shoot from the wall? Romans tricked Simon to take him to Rome for execution. 2 Samuel 11:21. Who struck down Abimelech, the son of Jerub-Besheth. Did not a woman throw an upper millstone upon him from the wall so that he died at Thebes? Why did you go so close to the wall? Then you shall say, your servant Uriah the Hittite is also dead. Simon was killed in Rome. 2 Samuel 11:22. So the messenger went, and he came and told David all that Joab had sent him for. Titus told Simon about the second vision. It was the time of the end, depth. 2 Samuel 11:23. And the messenger said to David, the men prevailed against us and came out to us in the field, but we drove them back to the entrance of the gate. Simon, James, and John were taken through the Flomentana gate for crucifixion. 2 Samuel 11:24. Then the archers shot at your servants from the wall, and some of the king's servants died, and your servant Uriah the Hittite is also dead. Simon, James, and John were crucified. John 19:25. And there was standing by the cross of Jesus his mother, and his mother's sister, and Mary the wife of Clopas, and Mary the Magdalene. 15th of the 771 CE, 2 Marys were Simon's mother and aunt. Wife of Clopas was wife of Simon. John 19:26. Then Jesus, seeing his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing by, said to his mother, woman, behold your son. Titus was standing near to Simon's mother. Simon told to his mother that Titus was her son. John 19:27. Then he said to the disciple, behold your mother. And from that hour the disciple took her in his own home. Simon said to Titus, Mary of Magdala was his mother. Titus made a place for Simon's wife in the palace. Simon's wife was his aunt. Uriah's wife was Simon's wife. 2 Samuel 11:25. Then David said to the messenger, thus shall you say to Joab, do not let this matter displease you, for the sword devours one as well as another. strengthen your fighting against the city and overthrow it, and encouraged him. Death of Jews by sword. 2 Samuel 11:26. And when the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah, her husband, was dead, she made lamentation for her husband. Verse showed Simon had a wife. 2 Samuel 11:27. And when the mourning was over, David sent for her and brought her to his house, and she became his wife and bore a son to him. But the thing that David did displeased Jehovah. Titus took Simon's wife. She became Titus' wife. 2 Samuel 12:24. And David comforted Bathsheba, his wife, and went into her and lay with her. And she bore a son, and he called his name Solomon, and Jehovah loved him. Titus laid on Simon to perform a resurrection by act. Titus was born. 2 Samuel 12:25. And he sent word through Nathan the prophet and called his name Jedidiah for Jehovah's sake. Verse states that Abigail bore Titus a son. His name was Solomon and Jedidiah. History does not show Titus having any children after 15th of December 71 CE. Then the son was an entity constructed from Bathsheba. Simon's wife Abigail was a member of the entity Bath-sheba.